Good morning, everybody. Howdy. If you can take the remaining seats, it would be great. Let's try to get this in before the rain makes its way. I want to thank everybody for joining on this historic occasion here in Fort Worth at the Tarrant County Texas State Veterans Home groundbreaking ceremony. Please stand as we welcome Texas A&M University's Color Guard. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Please join me for the national anthem. Please be seated. Let's give a round of applause to Texas A&M's Corps of Cadets. One of the best color guard teams there are in the entire state of Texas. I want to welcome Chaplain Rich Stoglin, a fellow veteran of the Afghan War, to lead us in prayer. You may be seated if you have access to a seat.
Thank you, Commissioner. The stole I have is the stole I was when I was the command chaplain of 39 nations of the world in Afghanistan. It was presented there. May they be long remembered. Let us pray. Divine Parent, we have assembled on this day because the hands of history has paused to etch on the stone of hope needed words for a new chapter, resulting in a holy echo, challenging those whose mendacious acts call for the question from the pages of Scripture as it appears, how have I now become your enemy by telling you the truth? The hallways of accountability await the answer. Thus, as we remember the hard works by a man named DeVore Jennings, whose last ounce of community devotion helped mightily to make this day possible, as he pushed for others to last come out of the social disadvantaged basement, where little if any recognition was visible, and enjoy a new economic mountaintop experience. We pray, God, for his work, that they will not have been in vain. Making well, one known writer dared to state, it is in the action that we find out who we really are. Therefore, disallow us, God, from straying in the wrong direction. We are challenged by the sagacious words, especially when it comes to veterans and their families. You don't luck into integrity, you work at it. Help us to remember by demonstrating our thorough appreciation during this historical groundbreaking action ceremony, as many of these veterans and their families gave their tomorrows for us today. To be clear, veterans will occupy the future spaces of this magnificent complex, stood up by the next generation so it could walk and engage this nation with a new sense of direction by concretizing their humanity and deepening respect for God, family, country, and others, no matter what. God bless these proceedings and us all today for its purpose with those sacred words, one nation under God with liberty and justice for all. So we pray for those who act as responsible guardians for our local communities, even when the duties they perform on a daily basis are not always acknowledged or appreciated. And lest we forget, those who are in harm's way, a long way from home. So we pray for those who streak across the turbulent skies, move underneath the forceful oceans, march on the hot desert floors, or survive in the dense jungles of the world. Be with them, God. Be with their families as they look through the windows of anticipation of their loved one's safe return home. Help them and us to remember, no matter what, hope is our strongest weapon. To God be the glory. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. On behalf of the Bush family, it's great to be back in Cowtown. My first, Manny and I lived here for a long time. Our first son, Prescott, was born here. My first business was founded here. And I'm a little biased, but I'm glad that the 10th Texas State Veterans Home will meet its home here in Cowtown. Though, don't take it from me, we actually had a joint selection committee composed of folks from the Texas Veterans Commission, who's represented here today, 2 at-large military veterans that serve with the 3 board members of the Veterans Land Board appointed by the governor to keep an eye out for our battle buddies, our military veterans. And it's a charge that we've kept since 1979, when the legislature wanted us to better honor in this state our 1.8 million veterans in Texas. And so today is truly a special occasion, not only for Fort Worth, for Tarrant County, but the entire state of Texas, and I'm proud to join you all. Wanted to recognize a few people before we invite our speakers today. First, want to start with the real estate experts that made it happen, Tim Williams and Andre McEwen at Trojan Commercial Real Estate, who helped us close the land. It's an important duty, right, Andre? I want to thank some elected officials. I didn't get a full list. Several have joined. I see Sheriff Wayburn in the back. Also want to thank, I see Senator Hancock and Senator Powell. Thank you for joining us. Not quite a quorum, but we got a good number of presence here that's representing the state Senate. If there are other elected officials, I apologize. I see Mayor Jim Ross as well for joining us over from Arlington, and some great folks that represent you throughout the community here today. We're going to have several speakers that you're going to hear from, all of whom had an individual part to play in making today happen, and we're excited to welcome them. As Chaplain mentioned, we need to recognize Dee Jennings and his work, not only in this project, but for what he's done throughout his life as a mentor to so many in the community and through his leadership at the Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce. Today would not have been possible without him. We mourn his passing, but we know with his great smile that he's looking down right upon us and celebrating in this moment. With the completion of this facility, this means that the state of Texas will have 10 veterans care facilities in its portfolio to take care of our loved ones, including Gold Star families, spouses of military veterans that date back to even World War II veterans that reside in the 9 other homes. But this facility represents more than just a new building. For a lot of our veterans that know and work with them every single day, they know, you know, that it's a new beginning, a new life to celebrate, a life well lived, but to celebrate the golden years with fellow military veterans. This home will represent men who fought for America's freedom in a different way, and a time when America on the homeland didn't always give them the credit that they deserved. And finally, today they will receive some of that credit, and there's much more that we can do to honor their service. So today I'm incredibly proud and honored on behalf of the Texas Veterans Land Board to announce that the Tarrant County State Veterans Home will actually be called the Tuskegee Airmen Texas State Veterans Home. As a recognition of their military service, the squadron flew over 1,500 combat missions, earned more than 150 Distinguished Flying Crosses. Thanks to the efforts of a local historian and fellow Tuskegee Airman, C.B. Rice, we know that the ultimate sacrifice was paid by one of Fort Worth's very own Tuskegee Airmen, Lieutenant George McRundy, who died during the war, but his body never recovered, and we will work to recover his remains. These airmen are known to have fought two wars, one against fascism abroad, but also one against prejudice at home. And the Veterans Land Board unanimously and could not be more proud to name the 10th home after the airmen. So today our great state takes another important step toward honoring our military veterans. I think we all agree that we could always do more. To our veterans who are here today, I know many of you are, we say thank you, as well as our first responders. To those who helped make this home a reality, we also appreciate you. We'll be watching you as construction continues. To those of you that are here today because you're part of the community and you care, let's get fellow Texans to honor veterans, not just on this day, but every day. Whether it's giving them a job, bringing them into the classroom, or helping them transition into the civilian world as we know it. And so I'd like to welcome someone who's been incredibly influential in making all this happen today, and that's Pastor Sultan Cole, the chairman of the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce. So,
thank you, Commissioner Bush, and thank you again, Chaplain Stogland, for setting the tenor and tone of today's monumental occasion. Today is a very special day in the fact that I'm standing in a place where Devoy Jennings should have been standing. But because of God's divine providence, it was not so. So it's an honor, and I'm humbled to represent the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce on behalf of Devoy Jennings. Again, to Commissioner Bush and the other members of the Veterans Land Board, our local officials, Mayor Parker is here today, and to all the veterans who are here assembled on what I would call sacred ground. This is a very special moment for the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce, the city of Fort Worth, Tarrant County, and the great state of Texas. But before I continue, let me recognize our board members of the Black Chamber who are present, and thank all of our chamber members who are here today. If you're here, we applaud you for your support and your efforts in making today possible. And so as a proud Fort Worth native, I can't tell you how honored the people of Cowtown are that you chose our city to build the next state-of-the-art Texas State Veterans Home. In addition to this new facility serving the needs of heroes who have given so much to this country, it is also undoubtedly will serve as an economic engine by aiding the further development of the Southeast sector. That means this project aligns perfectly with the Chamber's mission, and that is, we are dedicated to promoting and aiding business developments for members and fostering initiatives that bring prosperity to the communities we serve. We see this as an opportunity, not only to attract minority businesses on the front end during the design and construction, but even after, when the home will need to contract for facility support and services. And it's amazing how this project for Fort Worth began and evolved into this reality. Chairman Bush was introduced to the Black Chamber when Chaplain Rich Stogland invited him to attend our biannual breakfast almost 3 years ago. Afterward, he and some staff members dropped by the chamber office, and he mentioned that the Veterans Land Board was hoping to build a new veterans home in North Texas. And our late president, DeVoy Jennings, and our board members immediately thought that the North Texas location should be right here in Fort Worth. Thus, the conversation began and plans were executed with the help of Trojan Commercial Real Estate, Tim Williams, Andrew McEwen, Mike Berkowitz. Locations for a site were scouted, and of course, the Commissioner's Court, thank you, Commissioner Brooks, thank you, Judge Whitley, came through with property at a prime location. But I think what actually sealed the deal was when D. Jennings and I, along with a few others, met with Commissioner Bush, donning fancy socks like he is accustomed to wearing. And so to this day, I say the socks sealed the deal. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing that pair of socks today, my little yellow rugby duckies. But seriously, there's a passage in the Bible that from Habakkuk 2:2 that says, write down the revelation, make it plain on tablets, so that a herald may run with it. We saw the vision revealed, we made it plain. And thanks to a lot of people gathered here today, we can proclaim to the world that something great is happening in Fort Worth, Texas. Thank you.
Next up, I want to thank Councilman Chris Nettles, lifelong resident of the city of Fort Worth, president of the junior class, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and graduate of Fort Worth's own North Crowley High School. He attended Dallas Baptist University, studying in Christian ministries. He's a Renaissance man of sorts, businessman, entrepreneur, and community leader, and we're so thankful that the councilman joins us today.
Good morning. It's good to be here this morning, and I have a different story. I came on the tail end. I'm about 8 weeks in, elected for Fort Worth City Council District Number 8. I did have an opportunity to talk about this project in the process of running and being a part of the city of Fort Worth. I had the great privilege and the honor to sit down with DeVoy Jennings at his very last meeting at the Fort Worth Black Chamber of Commerce. And he instilled in me wisdom, knowledge, and his will to see this project come forward. And he just didn't stop with the Veterans Home. He talked about Southeast Fort Worth, about what he wants to do on Evans and Rosedale and how he sees development taking place. And I took a lot of notes. My ears was listening. One of the things we must realize is there's no more land that's really going to come to us, so we have to develop what we already have. And the Southeast Fort Worth has much land, prime real estate development for growth and for our city to flourish. 10 years ago, behind us, the VA hospital didn't exist. Over 2 years ago, this apartment complex, as you see, did not exist. It was just straight land. And now we have the opportunity and the privilege to build a veterans home. If we're going to build any type of development and homes, it should start with our veterans, because they have supported us, they have fought for us, and they have stood in the gap for us day and night. And so first, I want to thank the Black Chamber of Commerce again, Commissioner Roy Brooks, Judge Whitley, and all those who participated in making these efforts possible. Thank Mayor Parker as well for being here today. And I'm just excited to see what is best to come here in the Southeast Fort Worth. I also echo what Chairman talked about. This development is going to bring more jobs to Southeast. It's going to give us the ability to bring economic development, grocery stores, things that we need the most. And I'm going to keep my remarks brief because I see the rain coming down. And so thank you again for being out here, and I'm so excited to be here.
Next up is County Commissioner Roy Brooks. Tarrant County, as we all know, is one of the fastest growing communities in the entire country, now with over 2 million of our fellow Texas citizens. And over the past 3 decades, Commissioner Brooks has served this county in a variety of roles in addition to elective office. We're privileged to welcome you, Commissioner, and appreciate your work from the beginning on this project.
Second Lieutenant Claude R. Platt, Second Lieutenant Robert T. McDaniel, Sergeant John Flanagan, Jr., First Lieutenant George McCrumbie, killed in action February the 9th, 1944. Flight Officer Alfred Garrett, Second Lieutenant Jacob Greenwell, and Lieutenant Colonel George Hardy, who after the war was stationed at Carswell Air Force Base in 1953 and was assigned to base housing. However, when they found out he was a colored pilot, they denied him housing on the base, and he was forced to live 10 miles away. These are Tuskegee Airmen who grew up in or have a connection to Fort Worth and Tarrant County. These are heroes, and there were more than 30 like them from across the state of Texas. We're having a fight today in America. It's not about policy or priorities. It's about who counts as an American. It's about who this country is about and who it's for. It's about who is us and who is them. There are those who counted the men we honor today as them. These men defended their country with dedication and courage. They so believed in the American promise that they put their lives at risk for a country that didn't count them as full citizens, because they believed in the promise of America. They challenged America to live up to its ideals, to expand its circle of promise. They made America better. And so, through their example of bravery and sacrifice, they have taught us, and we should learn, that there is no us and that there is no them. There is only we the people. And so, let it be. Before I take my seat, I understand that there are several descendants of Tuskegee Airmen in the audience today. If you are here, please stand and let us recognize you. In addition, present with us today is Mr. C.B. Rice, a retired American Airlines president who became president of the Claude R. Platt chapter of the Tuskegee Airmen of Fort Worth. CB. And finally, Hovering over today's proceedings is the spirit of DeVoy Jennings, former president and CEO of the Fort Worth Tarrant County Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce, who passed away recently before seeing this project, which he helped conceive and bring to approval, but passed away before it came to fruition and did not consequently see today's groundbreaking. Here's to you, D.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think we're going outside of levels of government on this one, but hey, why not? Right, Mayor? Mayor, I want to thank you for your leadership and for joining. Your work actually in City Hall itself was part of today's, so you should claim some credit, even though you were recently elected. I think we're all excited to see your leadership in the great city of Fort Worth, and we'd love to hear some remarks regarding today's event.
Good morning. It's great to be with everyone. As Commissioner Bush alluded to, it was a pleasure to be Chief of Staff at the time when this project came to fruition. And Dee was actually the first person to call me. And so you're going to get a lot of phone calls about this. And we just want you to push where possible at City Hall. But it really wasn't that hard because you have a Commissioner's Court and a county judge that saw the vision and gifted, and I mean gifted, the property that you are sitting on to make this possible because you believe, that's right, because you believed so strongly to make sure this veterans home is right here in Fort Worth. And I think we're going to make you really proud, as you know, as a former Fort Worth resident. I think Fort Worth is truly the most veteran-friendly and proud community you could ask for, and this home is really representative of that. What does it look like to make sure we're taking care of those, as Councilman Nettle said, have stood in the gap for us over and over again? It's not lost on me that this is a very difficult time for our veterans right now. As you watch what is happening in Afghanistan, I've personally reached out to a few very close friends who I knew served, and it's hard. And so today is a positive day. It is what it looks like when a country really does stand up for their veterans. And you have our pledge here in Fort Worth. We're going to do our part to continue to make sure that Fort Worth represents what you need in a community that really is strong for our veteran community. So my grandmother was a Navy wave during World War II. She met my grandfather, who was an Air Force pilot. And I didn't know this till I was 15 years old, but she was blessed to get to train the Tuskegee Airmen. She became a trainer for those pilots and understanding the apparatus. And as a 15-year-old, she would tell me stories about how powerful that was for her before she had her own children. Both my grandfathers were also World War II veterans. And so this is a really monumental time for me to get to be a part of something like this. Not as a veteran myself, but this is the type of thing mayors should do. You show up when you're needed, and you make sure you fill the gap wherever possible. To our veterans in the audience today, thank you for your service. I hope today makes you proud. To our developers and our community here in Fort Worth, thank you for making this possible, because I can tell you it wouldn't have. There's a lot of other people that would have loved to have had this veterans home in their city. And now because of you, Andre's laughing because he knows it's all elbows, right, to make it happen. And lastly, thank you to Commissioner Bush and the Veterans Land Board. I know this is not easy. I've been part of that selection process when I worked in the House and understand everybody wants a piece of it. But you made the right decision, not just because of the love of Fort Worth community, but also because it makes sense for a variety of reasons that have already been mentioned today. So with that, I think I'll turn it back over, and thank you for letting me be a part of today.
I think, Mayor, we need to reach out to Mayor Nuremberg and see if we can seal the title Military City USA to come to Fort Worth. Finally, want to welcome Judge Whitley. Judge Whitley, he's a tough negotiator, but that shows that he's represented you well after all these years. We're so thankful that your presence is here, that you helped us close the deal. Land is the biggest line item typically in a project like this, and so without your help and your advocacy, it wouldn't have happened. So welcome, Judge.
Now, those of you who have been around me know that rarely do I have prepared notes, but this, in my opinion, is an occasion that just almost requires prepared notes. I want to thank all of y'all for this. It's a great day in both Fort Worth and in Tarrant County, but more important, it is a great day for our heroes, the veterans of this country. I want to thank Commissioner Bush for his leadership in making this day happen. His work with the Texas General Land Office led to this moment. Commissioner Bush, again, thank you for your leadership and thank you for your dedication to our veterans. It has been said before, but it bears saying again, that America is the land of the free only because it is the home of the brave. Over the course of my career, I've had the privilege to meet with so many veterans who have given so much to our country. My father and his twin brother spent over 20 years in the Navy. My father-in-law over 26 years in the Air Force. I had the privilege of serving in the United States Navy Reserve, and I saw men and women who were willing to leave their own families to protect all of us. As county judge, I have worked hard to provide many services to our veterans living in this area. One thing I've learned in my interactions with these veterans is even though they have given so much, they ask for so little in return. Too often, that's all we've given them, but not anymore, and not in Tarrant County. The Tuskegee Airmen Veterans Home will be a state-of-the-art facility that honors our heroes. This is more than a place to live. This is a place to call home. A place where old warriors can make new friends and live with the comfort and support they so richly deserve. I want to thank everyone who made today possible. Mayor Parker, Councilman Nettles, Commissioner Brooks, Chairman Cole, and so many others. It takes a whole community coming together as one to make something like this possible. In Tarrant County and all of the cities and all of the folks here collaborate together to do what is best for the community, not just their individual cities. And that's exactly what happened here. Finally, I want to say to our veterans, no public policy is more important than making sure that we honor you. You, in your younger days, you navigated through mines in the mist to keep us safe. In your golden years, we will help navigate for you by giving you the support you need. You are the very best of our country. You are the reason we're free. You are the reason we're secure in all that we do today and in all the conversations and debates. You are the reason we can do that. You are the reason we're here today for the groundbreaking. You deserve a first-class veterans home, and that's exactly what you're going to get. So thanks to every veteran of every war. We thank you, we honor you, and we pledge to fight for you just as you fought for us. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you, Judge. I'd now like to invite our distinguished speakers, starting with the chairman, councilman, commissioner, judge, mayor. So let's make this official.